We're in Nepal and we're about to embark on a 130-kilometre hike over 12 days and 2,500 metres.
It's amazing. Literally incredible. It's absolutely beautiful. Feels like we're really getting in the mountains now.
However, it's not going to be easy.
I'm so out of breath and it's not even uphill at the moment. We're 1 day away and I'm literally so tempted to walk back down that hill right now. And we're 1 day away. That's how hard it is.
Our journey starts in Nepal's busy capital, Kathmandu. Before we can start our 12-day trek, we need to hire some gear, as we don't have everything we need with us. We end up finding a small store that charges around $1 per day per item to hire a backpack, a sleeping bag, and a coat. Danielle also hires trekking poles because she's prone to falling over on a regular basis. We also buy some essentials like hats and gloves to keep us warm at altitude, as the forecast tells us it's going to get down to minus 15 Celsius at our final overnight stop of Gorak Shep. That night we head to bed early to catch our early flight to Lukla the next morning. The next day, it's time to catch our flight to Lukla, allegedly the world's most dangerous airport. Apparently Kathmandu Airport is notorious for its lengthy delays.
Now 5 to 10. The flight was meant to take off at 7:25.
So we're not actually surprised when our flight ends up being over 4 hours late. But we finally end up in a tiny aircraft for what would be one of the most scenic yet utterly terrifying flights of our lives. Knowing that Lukla is often referred to as the world's most dangerous airport only made this already daunting landing even more horrendous. Perched on the side of the mountain, this tiny runway is our gateway to starting our trek, and thankfully, we make it unscathed. After disembarking the tiniest aircraft we've ever stepped foot in, it's time to get Danielle some food, because she's getting hangry. So we collect our bags, and we find the first restaurant we see, which coincidentally has a great view of the runway we just landed on. From here, it somehow looks even more terrifying. Grateful to be alive, Danielle orders veg momos, and I order another vegetarian dish. For the next 12 days, we'll be sticking to strictly vegetarian food, as we've heard many horror stories about the lack of refrigeration on the mountain and the lengthy trek that the unrefrigerated meat takes on the back of a yak to get up here. After finishing our first meal of the trek, it's time to don our backpacks and begin walking. First through the pretty little town of Lukla, and then through the cobbled streets that lead us out of the town and towards Everest base camp. As we've gotten a bit of a late start due to our delayed flight, we're not going to make it to our planned first stop for the night.
So it's day one. We just left Lukla. We didn't get there till really late because our flight was delayed by 4 hours. So plans have changed a little bit. We're a day behind now. I'm planning to get to the next town. Hello.
Instead, we opt to walk for the next couple of hours and just see where we end up, confident that there will be some kind of guest house to accommodate us at the end of our day. The incredible culture and scenery is truly breathtaking, but between us and our room for the night is several of these treacherous suspension bridges.
This bridge is absolutely terrifying. Danielle says I should embrace the bounce and not look down. I'm looking down and I'm not embracing the bounce. These are terrifying.
After a few more hours of hiking, we find ourselves in the small town of Gat, where we find a quiet tea house for the night called Holiday Inn.
This is our room. This costs us $300 per night for both of us. £1 each. Comes equipped with a window, a plug, a lovely plug, 2 beds, a door.
Good quality pillow.
Oh yeah, good quality pillow. Not the cleanest, but you know, can't complain. We're in room 4. This is our bathroom.
Shower.
Western toilet, shower, hot water,
Flush.
a flusher,
Not a bucket.
not a bucket,
Virgil flusher.
and it comes with this view.
For anyone unfamiliar with long-distance treks in Nepal, it's very unusual to camp or cook your own food on the way. Instead, everyone stays at what is almost always referred to as a tea house, a small guest house type building often run by small families in tiny villages and hamlets along the trail. It's here that you pay just a few dollars a night for a bed in a private room with not much else other than a pillow and a blanket. Lower elevation tea houses often come with other comforts such as electric outlets and running water, but as you climb higher in elevation, the comforts disappear. When staying in a tea house, you're expected to eat both breakfast and dinner in their dining room, not elsewhere. Although most tea house menus are pretty similar in both price and options, so we never found this to be a problem.
We are at our first tea house. So yeah, how far did we go today?
About 3 miles.
We did about 3 miles, but the 4-hour delayed flight, as you've probably already heard about. Also, excuse my hat, it's got cold. So yeah, tomorrow we'll probably go to Nam-chee Bazaar, which is 13 kilometres.
Because at the moment we're a day behind if we don't go there.
Yeah.
Because of the flight. Good morning. It's day 2.
We're going to Nam-chee Bazaar today, or as the locals call it, Nam-chee.
Our day of trekking begins with some adorable fluffy puppies and several of these trains of mules. These mules are what bring supplies up the hill to the communities that live there, and we'll be encountering many of them throughout our trek. Although past Nam-chee Bazaar, the mule trains turn to yak trains.
Scenery is literally so amazing that I can't stop taking pictures, and I think I've lost Danielle. I don't see it.
I catch up to Danielle, but I can't stop taking photos. The scenery really is incredible, and the further through the valley we walk, the more amazing it gets, particularly after entering Sagarmatha National Park. However, the further we go, the more suspension bridges we need to cross, with literally dozens spanning the trail up towards Nam-chee, each one lined with hundreds of colourful Buddhist prayer flags flapping in the breeze above the river below. The old prayer flags are not removed and are left strung on the bridges next to the new colourful ones. This is to represent the lack of permanence in life as the colours and the threads fade from exposure to the elements.
We've just done a couple more suspension bridges, which really aren't that bad. The first one's absolutely terrifying, and then once you get used to them and you kind of get used to the bounciness, they're really not that bad. I'm not the best of heights, but I just look forward and just kind of walk quickly. I'm seeing people literally run over them, everyone seems to be quite scared, but they do actually feel quite secure. But yeah, that's about it.
It's kind of flat, and we're hiking along the river, so this bit's nice, we like this bit. The rest has been very treacherous.
After our flat stroll along the river, it's time to begin our long climb into Nam-chee, but not before our final bridge of the day and a small animal hold-up in this train of mules.
One thing you do have to look out for is the yak pat.
Or
Donkey diarrhea. Don't slip in it.
it's slippy. I'm speaking from experience.
After another hour or so of trekking uphill, we make it to the comparatively large town of Nam-chee Bazaar, by far the biggest town we will pass on this trek. We find ourselves a tea house for the next 2 nights, as we are spending tomorrow on a short acclimatisation trek to help our bodies adjust to the high elevation, so we will be sleeping in the same place tomorrow as we are today. Day 3 is an acclimatisation day, which essentially means that we'll be sleeping at the same elevation for 2 nights, with a short hike up to a higher elevation during the day in order to help our bodies adjust to the daily rising altitudes we're facing. This is the first of 2 such days on this trek, with the second being in Tengboche, and today's acclimatisation hike is up to Hotel Everest View, which as the name suggests boasts views of Everest. However, on the day that we hiked up there, unfortunately Everest was obscured by thick cloud. However, the views of Nam-chee from above and the surrounding mountains more than makes up for the nearly 500 metre climb up to the hotel.
So part of our acclimatisation day in Nam-chee, we hiked up to Hotel Everest View, which is at 3,900 metres. We had a pot of tea. There's some amazing views on the way. But Everest was covered in cloud, so we didn't actually see Everest, but well worth it. Apparently it helps in the acclimatisation. I believe it because I'm so out of breath and it's not even uphill at the moment. Whew. But yeah, it was nice. Danielle's just in front of me.
Hello.
She seems to be less out of breath than me. I'm struggling. Got my big Michelin man coat on. My arm aches. I just ate a biscuit. I bought a new buff. I can't do this, I can't talk. Okay, bye for now.
We make our way back down the hill on the steep trail that leads us into Nam-chee. Nam-chee Bazaar is by far the biggest town on the Everest Base Camp trek, with a whole host of guest houses, restaurants serving Western food, and even shops and stalls selling gear that you might have forgotten to pack. We spend a few hours exploring this busy little mountain town before heading to our tea house, Khumbu Lodge, for the night. Day 4 begins again in a beautifully sunny Nam-chee Bazaar. But today, instead of acclimatisation, the goal is the town of Tengboche. Today we start here. And we go up to here. Tengboche. It's sunny.
I'm tired.
Danielle's tired. There was loads of dogs barking at like 11 PM to about 4 AM last night. I stayed awake the whole time. Despite the lack of sleep, the clear skies and sunshine encourage us uphill and out of Nam-chee Bazaar. Along this path, we encounter some incredible Buddhist stupas and many prayer flags carrying mantras and prayers heavenward on the wind. We just left Nam-chee Bazaar about 2 hours ago? 2 hours ago?
3 now.
3 hours. We just stopped for a masala tea with a view. Well, Daniel had a peach tea, I had a masala tea. It was delightful. Now we're about to go uphill. It's very cold still.
It's very cold.
Today's trek takes us uphill and out of Nam-chee, before descending down to the river on the valley floor. The views along the way are incredible, with Amadablam taking centre stage, distracting us from the physical challenge of steep descents and ascents. It is around here, at over 4,000 metres in altitude, that we are reminded of the difficulty of trekking in the Himalayas, as helicopters pass overhead and our walking slows to a crawl. This is the actual speed we have to walk, because the altitude is so tough. This is real time, no slow-mo. Whew. Having never hiked at these altitudes before, our bodies are struggling, even with a lot of previous hiking experience. Each hill becomes twice as difficult as it would otherwise be at lower elevations. Eventually, though, we make it to the valley floor to cross the river and begin our last ascent of the day, which turns out to be the most difficult so far of the entire trek. I am absolutely exhausted. The trick to walking up these hills is to go as slow as physically possible, and then you don't have to stop. I'm tired though. We're about 1 kilometre away, 100 more metres up. Almost there. Whew, tough day. We make it to our destination of Tengboche around 3 PM, just as the clouds start to roll in all around us.
We've literally just made it. We're still out of breath. We've just finished climbing the stairs. We're in our room. Toilets,
I like this room.
Toilets are just down the hallway. We've got a cracking view of the monastery just outside. The room here was only 500 for both of us as opposed to per person like the last place, but we have to eat our breakfast and lunch here, which isn't an issue because
we would do anyway.
There's literally 2 places. It is 3:20. We left at about 8:45 this morning, but we did stop twice for drinks. But we haven't really eaten. Feeling alright. I feel a little bit dizzy, but I think that's because I just took the stairs too fast. My headache's not here, so far the altitude is...
Ooh, my sweat is cold.
Not too shabby. Whoa.
Ooh, it's icy.
But yeah, made it feel good. Excited for dinner. It looks like there's quite a lot of people staying here too, so it shouldn't be too awkward when we go for breakfast and stuff. And that monastery, not quite sure the GoPro does it justice, but it's really cool.
We venture back out to explore the monastery for a while before dinner, absorbing as much of the unique Buddhist culture as we can.
If you want to be a monk, this is where you go. To be alone, to be quiet. There's literally nothing here. No temptations, no nothing.
No temptations. We head back to our tea house for dinner before heading to bed. Coming up in part 2... It was a 6-hour round trip.
That last bit was absolutely grueling.
Definitely the hardest thing we've ever done in our lives. I kept waking up in the night feeling like I couldn't breathe. It's just so hard.